What's going on, people? Them, it's your boy Vocals Love. Welcome to the SMG Podcast. You know how we do, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, we don't do intros, but these days we be having lovely guests on the show, so I have to intro. We can't do the ghetto thing, you know what I'm saying? Before we start, I do have to say for the first time ever, a big shout out to our sponsors, Greco Science. If you don't know about them, they make the G-Pens. If you're into herb vaporizing, go onto the Greco Science website. Put anything in your basket, just type in SMG15 and you get 15% off. Do it so I get paid. You feel me? All right, cool. So on today's episode, we're going to be talking about an issue that affects our community quite hard. And it kind of goes along the series that we've been flowing with the community, gang culture, crime, things of that nature. Now, we have three lovely guests here that are going to be speaking to us about joint enterprise, speaking to us about certain experiences that have affected them personally, and just educating us on what it is and kind of how to avoid it and how to educate others to avoid it. So I want to get you guys to introduce yourselves, starting from you, Julie.
My name's Julie.
My name's Shirley.
My name's Pearls.
Welcome to the show. So we're going to start from you, Pels. If you just kind of tell us a little bit about what you've been doing lately, working in the realms of, I guess, joint enterprise.
Okay. Good evening, everyone, or good afternoon, good night, morning, wherever you are in the world watching this. Yeah, so joint enterprise. A lot of people would have heard of it, guilty by association. That was, I think, one of the names it was called, guilty by association. So basically what joint enterprise is now is basically you could be with a group of friends and at a party, one of your friends decided, well, this is one of the scenarios, one of your friends decided that they're going to go and commit a crime. You don't know nothing about the crime. And, you know, they've come back, you're with them, so you're now associated with them. You understand? That's your friend. They've done something, you're associated with them. You get arrested and you get convicted with the same offense, isn't it? Yeah. As what the person done. So they're classed as the primary suspect, isn't it? Primary suspect. We would be the secondary suspect. So they're the first person, they're the one that committed the crime, we're the second person. So that means that because we was with them, we would get charged, convicted, sentenced the same amount of time that they've done, basically. So that's one scenario. Another scenario could be that, again, your friend could have been out there doing something, committing a crime, you don't know nothing about the crime, you could be at home, you could be just playing your PlayStation, you could be doing whatever at home. They call you after they've committed the crime, and because they've called you, now you would have been associated because they would have said that you knew that this person was going to commit the crime. So now you can get arrested, charged, convicted with the same amount of time, do the same amount of time that that person had done, even though you weren't at the scene.
Get charged for conspiracy.
That's right, yeah. So that's joint enterprise in my terms, but I want to read it according to the research, yeah? So let me read it, that's me. So joint enterprise, yeah, is where one or more people commit an offence, the main offenders and another or others, secondary offenders, intend to encourage or assist them to commit the offence. The secondary offender can be prosecuted as if they were a main offender, like I just said. So I'm just using the terminology here. It says, this has resulted in bystanders or people involved in much lesser criminal offences being convicted of murder or manslaughter. So it says here, thousands of people have been estimated to be prosecuted on the joint enterprise. But it says here, people are convicted on the joint enterprise. So let me get my paperwork. Based on prejudicial evidence, information that could be inaccurate or racial stereotypes. It says weak evidence that people are part of a gang. So that's weak evidence. That means that it's lazy evidence. So it's easy it's easier to get a conviction if you say that they're a part of a gang, basically. So that means that they don't have to actually go and find evidence that these persons that actually committed the crime. As long as it's a gang, they can, people have been charged and convicted based on that. So it says in weak evidence that people are part of a gang, including information about people's associations, friends, family, use of social media, and even music preferences, has been used in joint enterprise prosecutions, particularly in those brought against people of colour. This relies on racist and inaccurate stereotypes about young people of colour being involved in violence and other criminal activities, including gang involvement. The ongoing misuse of joint enterprise puts the rights to a fair trial at risk, particularly for young people of colour. So it says here, the David Lammy Review in 2017 highlighted the ways that joint enterprise leads to miscarriages of justice. So let me just think. So in 2016, the Supreme Court reconsidered that joint enterprise doctrine and said that the law had taken a wrong turn and been misinterpreted. So joint enterprise is basically a 300-year-old law. So I think it was 61 or something like that, 1861, 1840, something like that. And basically it was the upper classes that they used to duel, when they used to duel. And so you've got the person who's doing the actual dueling, and then you've got the person who's carrying the person's basic armors and stuff like that, if you get what I'm saying. So you can choose a sword or a whatever, or your musket,
So
or
wait,
whatever
they used
the
to
case
get
may
the
be.
gun carrier in
Yes.
joint
No,
enterprise.
but
That's-
also the watchers, the people that were watching.
And watching as
Yeah.
well.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
that's
why they brought
right.
it out,
Yeah,
just to get
so
all of
that's
them.
what. So it was.
Get
So
an
they
audience.
used that law to gather, because they wanted to stop it. You understand? So,
Oh,
they
right,
used
right,
the law
right.
to gather all of them and join enterprise.
Right.
So they've tried to use that law now. So they've now come and brought this law forward.
Yeah.
And using it for joint enterprise, but they cannot say where was joint enterprise first used for murder.
Right.
You understand? They've talked about was it the bank robbery? There was a robbery where they had of course you had the getaway driver.
Yeah, they always bring that up. The
Yeah,
judge
that's
brings
right.
that up
They
as a
keep
scenario.
they keep bringing that up as a the getaway driver, the ones who's so they're trying to say planned it and everything. You understand? So, but that's got nothing to do with murder. Where's that? That was that there is that's a definite intent, planning.
That is joint enterprise.
And that's joint enterprise.
I think I've heard of a funny story one time. Well, not a funny story. It was not funny, but of a weird story one time where a guy just used another guy's phone to make a phone call. I don't think the guy original done even knew the phone call that was being made. It's just one of, let me use your phone, bro. And he used his phone, spoke some craziness on the phone, and the guy's phone ended up going down.
Yeah. It's
crazy.
It's as simple. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. So they said that they've misinterpreted joint enterprise. So it said instead. It said that a person will only be guilty of joint enterprise offence if they intended to encourage or assist the person who committed the offence to do it. That's what they said that they was gonna do, but they never changed it. They didn't. They kept it the same way. It says, so they continue to use it. Yeah. So it says who's likely to be persecuted on the joint enterprise. So a number of different studies indicate that joint enterprise prosecutions are more likely to target young black men and boys. So young black men and boys, sorry, get my paperwork. It says one study found that young male prisoners serving 15 years or more for joint enterprise convictions is 38% were white and 57.4% were BAME and 38% were black. Another study found that joint enterprise prisoners who identify as BAME were significantly younger than their white counterparts and were serving
BAME?
longer. BAME, black Asian and other minorities.
Never heard that before. So.
Yeah, other minorities. I think they even complaining about using the word BAME because it's like, come on now. Yeah. So there's a lot of politics. Yeah. So basically, they would get longer sentences on average. So so it says, despite these studies, neither the Crown Prosecution Service nor the Ministry of Justice records or monitor data about joint enterprise prosecution, meaning there isn't an official record of the ethnicity or age of those prosecuted under joint enterprise or the outcomes of their prosecutions, which is done on purpose. Because the thing about it is, if they really recorded it, then of course they would clearly see how racist this thing is, if you get what I'm saying, you know. So but in saying that, Jengba actually took the CPS, they sued them.
Really?
Yeah, they sued them in 2022. So now they've said, oh, okay, this is a database. They came up with a database. They said, oh, we was gonna do it anyway, but lie. If Jengba hadn't done it, they wouldn't have not come up with a database.
Yeah.
So they've come up with a database now. And so so it says here they used, so the evidence was relied on by whether gang evidence. So basically they're saying that evidence was relied on for gang. Gang matrix. So they use the gang matrix. In all of these cases, they wanted to find out if those convictions were based on using the gang, you know. So when I said the gang matrix now, when they put, like I said before, when they put them on the gang matrix, that gives them the justification to
because they're already associated.
Because they're already associated.
Is that I don't want to sound stupid, but is this anything in similarity to the RICO law in America? Do you know what the RICO law is?
Remind me, because it sounds familiar.
I'm not going to try and do the acronym because I don't know the acronym, but it's basically, it's like what some of these rappers are on at the moment. So like, I believe there's a rapper called Young Thug. He's part of an association where somebody in the association has done something, but because he's a known member of this association and he's high profile, they've gone after him, and he's under some serious funds right now. But I think that because the RICO case is basically, if you lot are part of the same gang or you're known to the police as to hang around together or any kind of association, and someone in that group commits a crime, everybody's up.
Going down.
Doesn't even matter if it was 30 years ago and you live in a whole other country. Everyone's going up.
And that's basically, that's what it is. But what I want to say before I give the mic over to the ladies is that what I wanted to highlight, there's so much more that we could speak about. There's so much, as you can see in my hand here. There's, you know, Becky Clark and Patrick. Let me just make sure I give them their props, because Becky Clark and Dr. Patrick Williams, Becky Clark, she's a Manchester professor. She teaches in Manchester, and they did an extensive research on dangerous association, joint enterprise gangs, and racism. And I wanted to make. Why was I saying that?
You was bigging up them two people.
Yeah, they've done an extensive research on joint enterprise and the ins and outs, if you get what I'm saying, the depths of joint enterprise and stuff. So they've got a film. Dangerous Association. So there's a few films. Dangerous Association.
Okay, what is it, like independently shot?
Yeah, that's right, independent films. So about joint enterprise. So we're trying to get these information out there so that people can watch, because it's, you know, sometimes people, they learn by watching, isn't it? Yeah, so it's good to...
Are these people that you have contact with?
Yeah, cool. So I've spoken, Becky was the first person I actually spoke to. Yeah. So when my son got arrested and stuff like that, I then learned about joint enterprise. Right, and as soon as I heard the word joint enterprise, I Googled what joint enterprise was, and her name came up. Right. So I emailed Becky and I said, Becky, I don't know nothing about this. You're going to have to help me. So then Becky told me certain things and whatever. And then she got me linked up with Jengba, which is a Joint Enterprise Not Guilty by Association. That's the organisation that now I'm a part of and campaign with and stuff like that. Okay. So got in contact with Gloria, and then Gloria then started to, you know, tell me what we need to do, how we need to do it, and etc. and etc. And there was a reason why I wanted to say there was a valid point, but I'll get back to it. It will come back to me. So then we went to February the 2nd, we went to the House of Commons with to lobby. So we lobbied the bill, and it's called Joint Enterprise Significant Bill, Contribution Bill. Right. So what that is about, and I'll read Kim's word because it's Kim Johnson is the MP. Right, okay. She's from Liverpool, but she was the MP that actually went into the House of Commons. We all went there. We rallied outside for a bit, and we all went there. So I might be repeating again, but I'm just going by, reading Kim's words and stuff like that. So the significant bill is not about getting rid of joint enterprise because, of course, there is joint enterprise. But what it is basically to bring the law back into line with its original intention and retaining the power to prosecute multiple people who play a clear role in a crime while preventing wrongful conviction of secondary defendants. So basically, you can't just, because they were all together, just convict them for what one person's done, if you get what I'm saying. Well, one woman, I can't remember, it was an MP, and she turned around and said, well, that's going to be too hard. What do you mean it's going to be too hard?
Well, she's the one with the stumbling blocks. Then. That's all that means.
It's going to be too hard to individually try, these defense. Why? Yeah. So anyway, so when we went there, they said no, we're gonna adjourn it. So we're supposed to be going back the 21st of June. Okay. So this is the reason why for one of these we're trying to get as much people aware, so that whether they come and rally with us, whether they start making noise, because people. The thing about it is, people are not understanding how deep joint enterprise is, and our boys are out there. Girls are getting caught up in it because girls get caught up in it too.
Yeah, I would. That's a very They don't really shine a light.
They're not
on
really
that
back now, but girls get caught up in it as well. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But our boys are out there. Our children are out there, and they don't realize what danger they really are in. I get scared when I walk out and I see, groups of boys coming out of school and they're congregated together and stuff like. I get afraid for them because it's like, you just don't know.
Well, it takes one to do something.
Just one that's what I'm saying. Just one to do something, and then that's it.
Unpredictable. And they're all getting done.
So
I want to ask a question just before you carry on, and I'll ask this question not as a devil's advocate. It's kind of question because I don't like that kind of format, but just as a looking at it from a different perspective, right? Do you think? Obviously, there are many times where joint enterprise is unfair, but there are some times where it may be fair.
Yes.
Now, speaking to people like the CPS and the police and whoever is judges and stuff like that, what can we kind of say to them or even advise them as a way to better kind of analyze each situation? I mean, do they need to put more time into it? Do they need to get rid of the bad seeds? Do they? I mean, what can happen? Because is it
the CPS?
Well, it's really hard. That is hard because
that is hard.
You've got to look at it.
Yeah.
If the CPS is involved,
they're corrupt
and they're corrupted.
You have to say it as it is. They're corrupt.
Yeah, it has to go up to the IOPC, and then you see they're corrupted. Where do you go from there?
Yeah.
Right.
And that is the main problem now.
Yeah.
That is what a lot of people are having. Like, I've got a situation where my son wasn't even there. He wasn't there when the incident happened at all. They've proven that by his phone, cell site. They've proven that. Yes, he went to pick up two guys who are his friends.
So take us, all right. So let's speak about you guys. We'll come back to obviously what you were speaking about. What speak to us a little bit about you guys' stories. So,
right,
we'll start with you, Shirley. Tell us a little bit about your history with joint enterprise, or your experience rather.
Right, my experience with joint enterprise is I don't know why the judge is allowing the CPS to go on theory.
Okay.
Like, for instance, my son was at a party. Yes, he was at a party. But the police said that he had driven 11 miles in the morning to where this boy was attacked. It was found out in court. He was at a party. He's booked in a hotel. He was in that vicinity in the first place. Now, these two young boys did something, but he had left the party. He was on the way home. The cell sites proved he was on the way home. He was where he was. He was nowhere near the incident. The CCTV footage also shows he wasn't there. Yet, he went back because one of the boys picked him up, apologised, phoned him up and said, could you pick us up and bring us home? He's gone. Yes, he's gone, and he's picked him up and he's took him home and come home. The next day he's come out, he's gone to pick up his girlfriend. That was it. 9 police cars around him. Apparently his car had been flagged. He was in an incident. I spoke to the police and said, look, what's going on? And they said, well, apparently he's been involved in a stabbing.
Involved to what capacity? Oh.
And, well, they...
This is the question.
Well, the car was flagged for that. That's all they knew.
Okay.
Took him to the police station, held him there. One of the police, it was a black policeman. He said, please don't say anything. Don't say nothing.
Okay.
Right?
Wow.
He didn't say nothing. Took him straight to another police station, not naming the police station, then straight to court in the morning, not going to name the court, straight into prison. Was charged with joint enterprise. Now, the 2 boys that had done the deed, they got bail because they was took to another court. My son was took to a separate court and put straight in custody.
And what ended up happening to the other 2, if you don't mind me asking?
The other 2 were given bail.
Yeah.
We had to fight for my son to get bail.
Right.
We won bail in a totally different court.
Right.
And on bail for a year, all 3 of them, not allowed to talk to each other, not allowed to phone each other.
Of course, yeah.
That jargon. Then court case, 3 weeks, was done for joint enterprise and got 6.5 years, even though the perpetrators, even the victim, said he wasn't there.
Wow,
Another case of joint enterprise. So he's doing
wild.
6.5 years for something he knew nothing about.
Wow.
His friends never told him about it. And as far as I can see, the CPS has gone on theory. And I think that's my concern now. They're not going on evidence.
So when you say they've gone on theory,
They're going on
when you say they've gone on theory, are you saying that they've just gone on the hearsay, or they've gone on, you know what, we saw the car, we saw the plate, we know these 2 probably did it, we know he was nowhere around when it happened, but because of the pressure that we're getting from so and so and so, we just have to do all of them.
Story. They tell a story and it gets believed by the jury.
What is what's your experience, please?
Well, my first knowledge of joint enterprise, it was last August. My son was celebrating his 22nd birthday. I get a phone call to say he's been arrested. So basically, he was charged with joint enterprise murder. His friend went into a flat, his girlfriend's flat, and found her in bed with another man. He stabbed him and he died. Yeah, so obviously I have to be mindful there is obviously someone who's died here, and I feel absolutely terrible of what's happened. But I also feel for my son because he hasn't done anything. Basically, they say he encouraged and assisted. And now he showed a message from his girlfriend, showed his friend a message saying they'd seen his girlfriend in town with another boy. That is their encouragement, right? But who wouldn't do that? Who wouldn't show?
Of course.
I would.
I would be shocked if you didn't do that.
I'd show my friend and say, look what I found out. So they said, so obviously they've said, I'll just keep an eye, see what she's doing. So they've said that they're like trying to keep tabs. It wasn't the case. The prosecution have said they cut the night short, rushed home, rushed to the flat to basically commit murder. And it was proven all in court that didn't happen. There was CCTV. There was phone records saying they went back to his flat. They chilled. They went into town. They were seen on the police body cameras in town, just hanging around. They have gone to the flat, They've tried, from what they've said, they've tried to get in, like, buzz her up because he wanted to find out what was going on. But there was no answer at the flat. So he had a key to the flat. So he's gone back. The boy who committed the murder went back to get the key. My son's waited there because he felt a bit sick and he couldn't be bothered to go back. So what they're saying then is that he was like, he kept watch while he went to get a knife. This is what they're saying.
That's the joint.
There's no evidence
Damn.
that he went and got a knife. I'm not saying he didn't get that knife. I don't know. We don't know where this knife came from, right? So they are basically saying that he went to get a key and he went to get a knife, and my son knew about this. Now they've walked into the flat. No one's even seen this knife. No one's seen it. He got a cab. They used their cards on the cabs. They weren't covered in dark clothes. They were just normal boys just trying to sort of find out. So it doesn't look like
they had any intent.
There was no. Where is the intent? Yeah. There was none. They were buzzing the flats and got let in by a neighbour. The neighbours saw them. They said, "I'm really sorry to wake you up at this time in the morning." Obviously, he's opened the door, gone in. They've started fighting. The girl that was there has said that my son didn't touch him, didn't assist the boy to do what he did, and that he was trying to get his friend to leave. And she specifically said that in court. He tried to get him to leave the flat when they were fighting. So my son left. He was seen by a neighbour downstairs. He went, "I'm having nothing to do with this. It's a domestic." He left the building. Obviously, the boys stabbed this boy. It was quite a lot of times. His defence is that they were fighting, and that he didn't realise he was stabbing him as much as he was. The girl said that wasn't the case.
Yeah,
the girl said, I mean, the girl said that he went in there and just stabbed. So there's two different stories, but they both said my son was not part of it and didn't have any knowledge that this was going to happen. So obviously, because he's left, his friends caught him up. There's witnesses that have said someone say, "What happened? That was my son." Because they've seen him come out covered in blood. Also, someone's seen them arguing, and they're arguing because my son's like, "What the hell have you done?" Do you know what I mean? So that was the arguing. Someone else heard my son say, "Why have you got me into this situation?" Now, as far as I'm concerned, all of this, what you hear, how are you finding my son guilty of murder?
And this was all presented.
This is all in court.
So can I ask you a question? And this is a question for everyone. Because I was always under the impression that, obviously, put corruption aside, I was always under the impression that evidence plus witnesses, I mean, you know, what's the word? It's like, unequivocal or whatever. It's like, you can't deny this evidence. I was always under the impression that when it comes to a murder case, we need to get extensive. Like, we need to be sure. There needs to be someone who said, yeah, it was him.
Yeah.
But when you have someone that was in the room, that's emotionally distraught from the situation, but still focused enough to say, no, he wasn't involved. And then you've got witnesses in the building that were saying, yo, this guy was not really trying to be involved. And you've got other evidence that says he was not involved. What was the decision that they made, or what do you feel? Was it clear what the decision was?
I think it was prejudice.
Yeah, but why wasn't the girl done with joint enterprise?
Yeah, but a lot of people have asked that. You
said there was a girl there.
There was, because my son, at the end of the day, my son has gone into that flat with this boy. Yes, there could be a case to answer for manslaughter because that wasn't the indictment. Maybe, because he's gone in there. I don't know. He's gone in there knowing that there could possibly be a confrontation if that boy was to be there. They didn't know the boy was going to be there. They weren't 100% sure. They weren't sure who was going to be there. He wanted to sort out his girlfriend.
Of course.
Now, the big thing is, which has come out in court as well, which I feel like I need to say, the whole point of my son getting done with murder is that he must have known about a knife, okay?
Okay, right.
Now, this knife, he's not seen this knife. The girl said she didn't even see the knife until after it happened and it was on the floor. No one has seen this boy bring the knife into the flat. Now, her DNA was on the handle of the knife. And it says in the statement of facts that it's consistent with her holding it recently or regularly. Now, to me, if I was sitting on the jury, I'd say, well, that kind of sways me to think maybe the knife was there.
I think it was there.
Yeah, so if that's the case, then how is my son being charged with murder?
Yeah, but that's why
there's no premeditation.
She done with joint enterprise. That's
a whole other side of
asking.
who knows. Who knows who the lawyer is on that side and what they had to pay?
Yeah,
Would she be
what do you
done
do?
with joint enterprise?
No, I
She
don't
wouldn't
think
be done
because there
with joint
wasn't. There was no
because
intent
she's,
with
remember,
her.
yeah, there's no intent.
They're saying
So
there was
it's not,
intent
yeah,
for my
she
son.
wouldn't be, yeah.
And for the boy.
I mean, you could argue that. You could argue a crime of passion. I mean, he could have come in the room and then she's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm coming to my senses. What am I doing?" And then they're fighting and she's like, "No, I really care about you. Let me help you stab it." I'm just speculating. That never happened. Don't listen to me. But no, I'm just because we never really know. When the doors are closed, there was only 3 people in that room that really know what happened.
Yeah, but do you know what I need to know? Who does the CRB? Who does the CRBs? Who does
CRBs. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
CRBs, you have to
When you said
explain
CRBs, I'm thinking
so that everyone
you know when you get a job and they're
CRBs
asking you for your CRB, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I'm with it. I'm not stupid.
Who does that? Because how is it that these police are allowed to put boys on the matrix? They put it on the CRB.
Yeah, I know, but the thing about, remember, they're corrupt. Yeah, so they're gonna.
Yeah, but that must go further.
And but it does. But it
control
does.
The CRBs.
Yeah, but it does. The thing about it is, with this, this is a system, and the thing. Can I mention Freemasons?
You can mention anything on this podcast. No, they can't come.
I'm joking. Right. Can we get deep? Can we get a bit deep? So it might sound a bit conspiracy theory, yeah. Okay. But we're dealing with Freemasons here.
Yeah, man.
Right? We're dealing with Freemasons. Yeah?
Right.
So the Freemasons, they're in child trafficking, sex trafficking, drug trafficking, all of these things. They're involved with all of these things. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's get dirty with this now because
Papa Cheese.
Because sometimes I get a bit tired of the niceness. I need to get it off my chest.
I'm gonna get.
You're gonna do a bit. Hang on a second. Let me open the gate and then you can run. Yeah, can we just get thing now? Yeah? We've got these dirty people. Yeah, we've got these dirty people that are supposed to be protecting us, or you understand? Upholding the law. They're the most dirtiest scum of the earth out there. Yeah. What I wanted to say, what I forgot earlier, they profit off of our children. Yeah. Right? These new prisons, they're privatized.
100%.
So they're companies.
Preach.
Yeah? They're companies. So that means that you can buy shares in these companies. Yeah? You buy shares in these companies. When you look on when I started to do my research, when they talk about going down the rabbit hole, oh God, I went down, real down. Yeah? You go on, look on Google. They say, you can Google, but you can go on DuckDuckGo if you want to, but look on there. You can see which MPs, QCs, OKCs, who have shares in what companies. You see all there. You understand what I'm saying? You see all where they profit. And they profit off of our boys. Yes. Right? Yes. When they get sent to these private prisons, like I said, they're corporations. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah? They use our children for slave labour. Yes. Right? They get paid. I don't know if they've upped it. It was £2 an hour or something like that. It's ridiculous, man. So when you go down to Bond Street, or you go down and you see the curtains and you see the cushions and you see the pillowcases and you see the shit. Our children make these things. Our men make these things. You understand? So they make money. So joint enterprise. There's a part where they said they want to build 2. Let me find it because there's. Right. Let me read this first. Right, so it says total prison population projection and custody type breakdown. So projection, yeah? So it says the prison population in England and Wales was 83,687, yeah? As of Friday the 17th February 2023. It is projected to increase steadily to reach 94,400 prisoners by March 2025 and between 93,100 and 106,300 by March 2020. So
they're predicting it.
How are they predicting it?
Yeah.
Right.
That's
so can you imagine?
Projection.
That's a business projection. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's a business.
Mental.
So in order to fill that, how do you think they're going to fill that? Joint enterprise. Because when you can go to the Old Bailey. We went. So 2nd of February, for instance, they could do a prison what's it called, a court watch. Right. So Jengbird, they sometimes go and do a court watch. In the Old Bailey, they had 7 different cases of joint enterprise, and in each case there was 8, 5, 6, 4, or 3. So imagine all of those for joint enterprise. Imagine how much money. So they earn, one child is £140,000 a year.
Yeah, we've had that figure like 3 times on this pod now. It's
Right?
crazy. But by different people that have come and confirmed
Right.
at different times.
You understand what I'm saying? So imagine how much money they make from that scoop of children going that
that's
one
per year.
day. Yeah, per
person.
year, per person. So imagine that one day in that courtroom, 7 different cases with all of those figures going into prison on remand. You understand what I'm saying? How much money they're making?
So that's at the Old Bailey.
That's at the Old Bailey.
And yet I've been at the Royal Court of Justice, and all this week I told you they've been using court 5, 6, and 7 for joint enterprise.
Damn, that's crazy.
I've been going and listening to some cases. That's
crazy.
So they say that they want to build 200,000 prison places by 2030.
Oh, we know what's about to happen.
How are they filling up these? How?
Joint
enterprise is
easy
very lucrative. Very, very lucrative. You know, very lucrative. And the thing about it again, and I'll fling this in there for those who understand the spiritual side of things.
Yes, please.
Yeah, because there's a spiritual side of it.
100%.
And for those who understand, going back to Pharaoh, going back to Herod, and the days when they wanted to get rid of so-called Messiah before.
Oh, no, I know where you're going.
Right.
I watched that on this the other day.
Right.
Flipped me out,
Okay, so there's a spiritual side of it as well as what you see going on. But it's all spiritual anyway. You understand what I'm saying? With these Freemasons, it's all. So I have to, it might sound conspiracy theories, but it's deeper than what people really understand. So you've got a spiritual side of it, and then you've got the ones that are on the natural side where people, you understand what I'm saying? But it's a deep thing. It's a very, very, very deep thing.
It's a deep thing. I want to just add on to that, and just to add on some education for those listening, and for anyone who might be thinking, "Oh, damn, did I do anything bro?" Like, honestly, like, you have to remember, just like we're discussing about prisons being a business, we're seen as property, right? And unfortunately, there's a certain demographic that is really seen as, right, we can just do as we want with this group. Now, it's such a crazy kind of loop system. So if you start at the top, you've got miseducation. So we're coming in early years. We've got miseducation, and then we've got misexamination, because the way that we examine children and young people is not to see who's actually smart. It's not to test your intelligence. It's to see who's going to be the better slave. So if you come into the system and you're already kind of being trained to be this kind of slave or that kind of slave, some of us, and I was having this discussion with someone yesterday, it's crazy. Like, I don't want to call no one a bad kid, but have you ever noticed how the kids that always act up in school, the kids that are the naughty kids, they are the smartest kids. Like, they'll go in and do their GCSEs off of coming from bunking off of like 2 years, smoking weed in the park, and they'll just come in and get A's and B's.
That's right.
But they're just not interested in the way they're being taught.
That's right.
So where they kind of frustrate them in school, then they leave school kind of thinking education's bullshit. I don't want to deal with that. I want to do my own thing. This is way more attractive anyway. And through media, through community, through advertising, they are showing all the wrong things. They are shown how to misbehave. They're taught that if crime pays, they're taught that crime is glamorous. So they just go into this life with obviously, nobody, their families are obviously guiding them, but unfortunately, kids are at school more than they're at home. They're outside way more than they're at home. So their influence is being drawn in from all the wrong things, right? So when they get to the age that joint enterprise can actually now affect them, how much easier is it going to be to trap them in that? Well, you're already messed up. And then they put them inside, what's going to mess most of them up even more. It's only some of them that really come out okay or wanting to better their life. But they come out learning all sorts of mad crimes in there, teaching man them all sorts of madness when they come out, and then they're right back in. So this business where you've got employees that will never diminish. You know what I'm saying? But I just wanted to add on to what you're saying, but carry on.
So going back to the school system, so you've heard of from school to prison pipeline.
I haven't, no.
Right, so it's from school to prison pipeline. I'll try and explain it as best as I can. So, like you said, going back to the children whose way of learning is not what they want them to learn, the sheep way of learning, basically. You understand? Group think. You know, everybody sit down, you know, head forward, you know, and all, you know, you get what I'm saying? There's some children that don't learn like that because there's different styles. They've whittled it down to 3, but it used to be 5 different ways of learning. So you learn through sight and hearing.
Got the kinetic learning.
Yeah, that's
and all
right.
that.
You know, all of those kinds of things. Not all children learn the same.
Right.
So the ones who need to move and they need to, whatever the case may be, and whatever they call them the disruptive ones.
Or they try to label them with ADHD,
ADHD,
autism, and all that,
that's right,
which is bullshit for most kids because
It is.
they just have a different mind.
They have a different mind.
You know what I'm saying?
So basically, what they should really do with those children is, all right, then, because they need to. The reason why they move and they do all of that is because their brain. They need to keep alert.
Yes,
Do you understand what I'm saying? They need to keep it active. So they do that so that they can stay alert and stay. You understand what I'm saying? So the teacher will class it as disruptive. So then what happens? They get sent out of class, or you understand, or they agitate them and get them upset and get them angry. Then they label them as angry, get aggressive, and then it leads them to that's right, leads them down to that path. So what happens? They get excluded, and some schools will not exclude them because again, some schools get paid. I think the last time I checked, I think it was £75,000 for one child to go to a PRU. Yeah, so when they go to the PRU. Some PRUs are
which
like
is
prisons.
what it used to be unit. That's unit back in our days.
That's right. It's called unit.
No, they're horrendous now.
So they when they go to PRU's like a prison. So you go there, you're getting restrained, and it's that prison atmosphere.
It is still. It's like a prep prison.
Yeah, so it's prep. It is. So it is a prep. It is a prep for prison, and they're allowed to.
Yeah, but the staff are allowed to fling them on the floor and everything. I've seen it.
Yeah, they're allowed to basically in the PRUs.
But they need to frustrate the youth though. All of this can't really take place unless you're already in a place where you're going to be erratic and you're just going to be a hothead. You know what I'm saying? Like they always need to. You can't just come to you can't just influence a human being to do something without planting that seed first.
Yeah.
Right. And unfortunately, and another thing for the parents, not all parents, but a lot of parents need to really pay attention to what's going on around your kids, what's being shown to your kids in school, what's being taught. When you go to your child's parents' evening and they're telling you your child's disruptive, or they're disruptive to other children, or they're the leader of the gang in school or whatever. Listen, don't always take the teacher's word, because what they're trying to do is get you to say, "Oh, really? Okay," and then they'll write it down on that report. That report carries them throughout their whole educational career. So every time they go to an institution, they look at that report before they've even seen the parents or seen the child. They look at that, they see disruptive, they see the grades, it's fine. You know, you can do your work, but you're disruptive. You know, usually leads other people, has to be moved away from other students, all of that kind of bullshit. And now they're already going to put you in a place where you feel like, oh, I am that person. Yeah. Oh, okay. So you just now mentally you start actually building that shit in your mind, treating yourself like that. But what I wanted to, before you finish, I wanted to kind of start with you, Julie, just to ask this question. And I think I asked this before. Going forward, you know, and you can draw on your own experience as well. For anybody that is experiencing pain from this situation, or somebody who's maybe just fallen into this and they don't know what to do, what would be your words for them?
I would hate it to happen to anyone, because it is the worst feeling in the world. It's like you're grieving. I know my son's alive, I get that. But I'm grieving him. He's facing at least 20 years in prison for something he hasn't done. And when you find out about this, you just... I found going to Jengba helped me massively, because there's so many mums
and me
that are in the same position. I obviously did a lot of research, but I think if you can just reach out to people that are in the same boat and they've gone through the experience. Like, I'm going through the appeal. So I'd like to get advice on appeal, so I've been reaching out to the other mums that have already gone through that. So I would say to definitely join that charity. 100%.
Cool. And yourself, Shirley, what would your words be for anyone that's kind of suffering in this situation?
Really,
Yeah.
Just fight it.
Yeah.
Just go to the Royal Courts of Justice. That's what I've been doing. I've been going to the police station and having tantrums. No, seriously,
Yeah.
I've been really bad. I've been putting...
No, you've been really good.
I know.
It's not been bad. It's good work.
It would be classed as bad to others, but she's fine. Yeah.
I've been actually putting DC Panu's picture up on the social media.
I hear that.
DC King on social media.
I like that.
Because they're so corrupted, and I know they're corrupted, but I do not know why they're not being dealt with. DC Panu, he got done for misconduct.
Okay.
And I found out he's still working at the police station.
Do you mind if I throw their pictures up when you say their names? You see this guy? And I was like,
No, he's up on. I've put them all over the place, and my concerns are as well. How is it that you can find a witness, like in my son's scenario, a witness, and I'm not racist, white man, saw 4 black boys jumping out of a car, one was my son, with machetes and knives, stabbing this victim, stabbing him. And none of that happened yet. He stood up in court and said that and got away with it. How is that allowed?
That's crazy.
But how is that allowed?
Remember, we're still
It's
going
crazy,
back
but
to the corruption.
this is the unfortunate thing, because we'll always come back to that.
We have to
corruption.
always go back to corruption.
It's never going to be fair.
It's not going to be. But if you know what's so good, you know what's so lovely, what's going on in this 2024. There's so much exposure.
Yes.
Police are getting exposed.
Yes, 100%.
Judges are getting exposed. You understand what I'm saying? So they will not be able to get away with it forever. The sad thing is that so many lives have been destroyed already.
Yeah.
And it's sad. One thing I just want to make clear for everyone watching, though, we are not saying that because we want justice for our children, that we do not care for any victims of or the families of murder.
No, definitely.
We're not saying that.
No.
You understand what I'm saying? I would be devastated if it was my son.
Yeah.
I would be devastated, and I would want justice for my child. I definitely I would want to know who done it and would make sure that they get what they deserve. So we're not saying, when we're fighting for our children, we're not saying that, we don't have sympathy for the family.
We do, but we just want the right
at the same
people
time,
to be charged.
Yeah, we want to make sure that our children that are being wrongfully convicted get the justice that they deserve, because that's their lives ruined. Yeah. Imagine, and Jan wouldn't mind me saying this because I've spoken to Jan. Jan's son was 15 years old, at the time, and he was blind. Yeah, he was blind.
My son met him in prison.
We met him in prison.
Yeah,
So
my
he
son
was
met him in
blind.
prison.
So
He's blind.
He see nothing.
He's been done for joint enterprise.
It was done for
That's
joint
mad.
enterprise.
The boy
He didn't
is
see
blind.
And what
nothing.
was it, like? What did they say that his part was?
No, they didn't.
They
They
didn't.
saw that he had nothing to do with it. They saw in the city he had nothing. When I say nothing,
This is criminal,
nothing
fam.
to
That's mad,
do
isn't it?
with
No.
it.
That
And
is
you know what they
criminal.
gave
That
him?
is
15.
criminal,
Was it
fam.
15 years?
Yes.
They gave 15
My
years.
son was in prison with him because he phoned me
They
and
said
said there's
that
a
he
blind
was.
boy
Yeah,
in here for
they
joint
said
enterprise.
he was. What was the word they
That's
used?
crazy.
I want to try and make sure they used the. They said that he was extremely innocent. Something of
He
that
was
word. They
extremely
saw
innocent.
that he was innocent.
That's
And they
wickedness.
still gave him 15 years.
Yeah.
That is wickedness.
That is
man.
wicked,
Yeah?
you know.
Yeah.
Still gave him 15 years.
Now, how
Blind,
come-
you know.
Another one of our members, her son got 35 years
Jeez
for something he
Louise.
didn't do.
Papa cheese.
He was 18 years old at the time.
Damn.
35 years.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest, and I
serious.
know this might rub some people 2 ways, and I don't really care. You get me? Like, I'm all for justice and all of them things, but even when you've committed a crime, I feel like certain sentences just don't make sense
They
because it's gonna
don't.
piss the person off more than rehabilitate them.
There
You get me?
go.
Like,
Yeah, but they don't
They
rehabilitate them.
but
They're not
that's another
rehabilitating
thing.
them
But
right
the
now.
sentences
They're
are
not.
ridiculous because imagine standing there, 18 years old. You wasn't even the main. You don't even have the satisfaction to say, "Yeah, I did it. Frig it. I'm gonna do my time. This is my crime."
Yeah.
Someone's just gonna tell you, "Yo, you're not gonna see nothing until even if you do half your time."
Yeah.
Like that's 17 and a half years,
years.
17 years.
Joe,
And you're
Joe,
18.
I think
Yeah,
Joe
but
was
what-
Joe 15.
15.
God
Joe
forbid.
was 15,
He
and
was
Joe
15.
was running away. He was running away from something that happened. He got, 12 years?
At 15?
15.
Yeah.
He was
What?
running away and he got 12 years.
It's quite a high profile case.
Yeah, that was a high
Yeah.
profile
Really?
one, yeah.
It was, yeah.
Yeah?
There's a lot going on right now with this justice
We've
system.
really
spoken a
bad.
lot about obviously CPS police, and you said the IO something. I don't know if you know
IOPC.
IOPC.
Yeah.
I don't know who they is. How far does this? I mean, it goes very far up the chain because we're talking corruption, but
Yeah.
politically, you mentioned David Lammy in one of the things
Yeah,
that
David
you
Lammy done a
mentioned there.
review.
I've actually just recently got in contact with his office about around this issue because there's some work that I'm trying to do with his I don't know what you call them, dead man there, you get me?
Yeah.
But I remember being young, working in Northumberland Park in that community centre thing, and we was doing a lot of youth work, and we actually had a meeting with David Lammy, and we was trying to like throw some points across, you know what I'm saying, yo, where the youth? Like, listen to what we're saying. Where the youth that's actually trying to change something? Listen. But he was not listening. And look, I'm not trying to speak bad on him because obviously I do want to work with a lot of these politicians in the future. But how bad or how neglected are these cases, and how much impact do you think MPs could have when it comes to maybe turning around some of these?
Yeah, but you don't realise the police or the CPS, they will lie to the MPs because Andrew Slaughter tried to get involved in one of my cases and help.
Right, Andrew Slaughter's...
Labour.
Okay, right.
He tried to get involved in one of my cases, and the lies that came out to the point where he could not even get a response from them. They would not, they just stopped answering him.
There's so much lies, yeah.
Totally,
They lie.
yeah. No, I've got the paper.
Yeah.
Totally stopped
They
answering
just-
him.
yeah, they
So
lie.
he said, what can I do, Shirley? I'm not getting any response. So I took her complaint up again. I've got 3 complaints going because they broke what they did. The CPS lied in court in Willesden Crown Court, and the week after they broke his legs and done his legs in Park Royal on the motorway. I got boxed up. His dad got called black shit. And then he got released. No further action. And then the week after, he got done for joint enterprise.
After NFA.
Yeah.
It's a bit mad, so.
Going back to what you said about the MPs.
Yes.
Yeah. The MPs, again, I think a lot of them don't want to touch joint enterprise, or they think it's so intricate. Because I'm finding that when I like I said, when you start talking about joint enterprises, a little bit like,
Touchy subject.
that's a touchy subject. That's sticky. That's really sticky.
Because it's unfair. Like, it's not actually a fair thing. Like, there's nothing fair
There
about
isn't.
joint
There
enterprise.
isn't.
I know I was
There
saying
isn't.
obviously in some
There isn't.
cases it might be fair, but I wouldn't even call that joint enterprise. You was just involved in the crime.
No, you see,
Like, you know what I'm saying?
can I make a point,
please,
yeah?
please.
You see one thing when it comes to the joint enterprise, because I have a brethren that went through that had experienced something to do with joint enterprise. It's not actually the joint enterprise that's the problem, yeah. It's the boundaries, yeah. That it's basically it's like you see like what they can use in joint enterprise to basically send you to jail. It's not concrete. It's not based on
No, there's
concrete.
no
Exactly.
evidence.
That's what I'm saying,
It's
not
theory.
and that's the problem
It's
is with
theory.
because people think that it's an attack on the actual joint enterprise. Because obviously,
No,
if
it's
someone
not.
if
It's
someone
not.
commits a crime
Yeah.
and you was actually joint and involved,
Yeah.
you're
but
right
this
to
is
get
what-
done.
but that's what I'm
for
saying.
joint
Exactly.
enterprise.
That's
not
what-
the-
that's
not
right.
the
It's not
argument.
that-
It's
no.
the boundaries that
Yeah.
that's the problem, and that's
Yes.
what the police.
Yes.
That's what the police and the
Yeah, but
system
isn't-
use.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
So
isn't
they
the
leave it
system...
loose
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they should know, be able to, we should make this more concrete, but then
Yeah.
it's like, cool, it makes it more difficult.
Yeah, but we
Yes,
should
yes,
have
right.
more evidence.
But
That's
you're-
it.
but
That's
you're
all
right.
the problem is. It
You're
makes it more
right.
difficult
Yeah,
for us to use it.
Yeah.
So let's leave it in
Then
a way
leave it
where we
loose.
can use it as
That's
freely
right,
as we want.
exactly.
Yeah.
And you're right.
Yeah.
But this is what I was saying to Chris
Yeah,
about the significant contribution bill. Yeah, we're not talking about do away with joint enterprise. 'Cause
No.
there's people that's still involved in joint
Yes,
enterprise.
yes.
But just bring it back to his original intent, which is that the primary person that committed the crime, let them be done for the crime they committed. Don't charge the secondary ones if they never had nothing to do with it.
Or didn't even know about
didn't
it.
know
Come on,
about
but
it. That's
look,
it.
From
Didn't
the person
know.
who committed the crime comes and says, my man has nothing to do with it. Yeah. That should be able. The joint enterprise should never be able to use
Goss,
against
can I
them.
give you
listen,
another-
listen.
Yeah, but-
That's what happened in the court. I was
Yeah.
there. The 2 youths involved, even the boy that got, I can't even really see stabbed because it was about that deep. He even turned around and said,
Harsh.
the two co-defendants, that's what they call them, they even said in the court, my boy wasn't there. The cell site proved he wasn't there. The video footage shows he's not there. All my son kept saying in court this is all he could say to the judge. It was hilarious when they were asking him questions. But I wasn't there. That's all he kept saying. But I wasn't there. Look, I'm not there. And the CPS kept digging and digging at him. And he said, look, I knew nothing about it. I went and picked him up when they asked me to pick him up. They had never told him anything about it. He never knew nothing about it till he lands up getting arrested for joint enterprise. Swear down, that is the honest truth.
But
he never knew nothing about the stabbing at all.
We don't want to obviously sound repetitive. It's unfortunate that it always boils down to it, but without using that word again, it's like
Theory.
they got a quota to reach.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Judges,
yeah, they do.
lawyers.
Well, going by that
everyone.
projection there,
I
they
mean,
definitely
They've
got
got
a
I need to
plans.
know who did their
breach.
numbers.
Yeah,
so
they got plans.
them
They got
numbers was
plans.
kind of accurate. I was like,
They
damn.
definitely
And
got-
also, don't you think, this is also going into some conspiracy shit now, but don't you think, right? Nah, I'm good. I'm going to
No,
start
go
talking
for
about
it.
something.
You started
Go
now.
for it.
You
Go for it.
mentioned
started
them
now.
Masons. I want to go back. No, I'm
Yeah.
joking. I don't want to go back. But, like, all right. We just had the pandemic, right? And we know how that changed society a little bit, right? I feel like it changed society for the worse in terms of young people and crime. Yeah, for many different reasons, right? But I kind of feel like, all right, in America, right? I know this is not directly associated with us, but in America right now, a few states have an issue where they're actually making laws where you can commit a certain level of crime and they'll just turn a blind eye. Like something like, to put it in perspective, they've got a law in certain states now where you could go into like Morrison's, Tesco's, IKEA or whatever and steal up to like $3,000 worth of stuff and walk out. Like they're not even allowed to stop you anymore.
Really?
Yeah, look it up. It's crazy. And this is why so they brought out the numbers on crime. Anyway, the reason I'm saying this is because they're setting up all of the avenues for crime, right? So those projections are very accurate. I feel like it might even exceed that because they're already laying the groundwork for all of these I don't know, slaves to be fucked up.
Yeah.
And it's only going to take a certain amount of time. And with what's going into the food, what's going into the air, which we won't really go into, and the water and the this and the that, it's really not helping. And with, everybody, fucking up their brainwaves and the frequencies and shit like that, it's really not helping. So those projections don't really seem too far off. But what I would like to ask you guys, just to kind of round off where we've gone today, what needs to happen going forward? What do you guys foresee? How do you see this issue going? Do you see the improvement in the work that you're doing, or do you just think this is going to be steady?
Yeah.
No,
as
we're
it is?
going for it.
Yeah.
No,
There
we've
is-
got to
there-
go.
there
What are
is.
your
we-
projections?
Yeah, we my aim now really is for a lot of the IOPCs to be investigated. And a lot of the CPSs to be investigated. No, I know, because I heard a sergeant and a whole force of police have been under
Yeah,
investigation.
they're doing a lot of investigation.
Yeah, I did hear that.
Didn't they just have a program on that? Shit,
Yeah.
like-
They're doing a lot of investigations.
They know. And another thing I've noticed as well, it seems to be the older generation of police. Because I've been in a few little whatever anyway. And
Wasn't always a good girl.
and I've noticed, like, no, I've always been good. I haven't got a criminal record.
Oh, fair enough, fair.
No.
My bad.
No. Right? No, I haven't got a criminal record. But what I've noticed in my scenario, when we had the incident with my son getting his legs done and me fighting with the police and everything, I noticed this one little policeman. And even in the investigation, he seems to be the only honest one. And he was the one that stopped it, but he looked young. And
It's always the young one.
no, it was so sad. He turned around and he said to them, listen, she can go and speak to her son. My son was on the floor while they're breaking his legs. He goes, she can go and listen to her son. He took me there. Then when I told him about the policewoman punching me in the stomach and all Hail Mary going loose. He goes, right, show me her. He walked, we went everywhere looking for her. She had drove off. Another scenario, the same thing. Younger policemen with my son, when they got arrested, they tried to stop it and whisper to him, don't say anything, don't say anything. But it was the young ones.
Yeah, but
And
you said,
they're getting bullied by the older police.
That's what I was just
because
about to
I
say.
even turned around because there was an investigation. I had an investigation going on and it was going so smooth. It was unbelievable. It was going how it should. All of a sudden, he wouldn't answer me. The investigator. Then another investigator took over. Then another. In the end, 5 investigators took over until they dragged it out over the 4 years.
Yeah.
So I'm still fighting it though. I'm not going to let it go. But I've noticed it's the older ones.
It is the old ones.
Even
It
my
is
son
the
said that.
corrupt.
He goes, Mum, when I get stopped by the younger ones, they go by the book.
Yeah.
No, but this is what I say. You see, because what I say is the culture in the older generation of police officers, it's no different from a gang.
Yes.
I've always said this.
Yeah, but
Because
they're the biggest gang. They are the biggest gang.
Some of the
Yeah.
things I've seen police doing.
Oh, and me.
And
me.
I said, you not move like you're the man then.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
But it's just that the government's backing you, so no one can't trouble you.
Oh, come to Shepherd's Bush.
But
The
then
police will tell you. You come to Shepherd's Bush, the police will tell you. I've witnessed it. My daughter heard some screaming in the bush, right? On the way to nursery before she went to work. No, she's dropped Itana to the nursery, come out, and she could hear a noise in the bushes. So she's jumped over the fence and she could see police, but she couldn't see what was going on. So she put her camera on and she's going into the bush. These police were kicking the Hail Mary out of this boy. So she shouted out, stop it, I've got my camera on. So she's filming this. So they've picked him up and she's screaming, give me your name. And he's screaming out a phone number, right? She's ran because she was scared, right? Because what she see. So then she phoned the number and in the end it was established the boy was cutting through the park to go to his mum's. He didn't have his phone on him. He was just popping to see his mum. He lives with his dad. They thought he had drugs. They dragged him in the bushes and they're beating the living daylights out of him. So, no, what happened is my daughter phoned the mum. In the end, the mum got a solicitor and it's going to court and they've asked my daughter to be a witness and she said, yes, I'm going to be a witness.
That's justice.
But that is what is going on.
But you see what it is. I love that it comes from someone of your age, your generation, to say that. Yeah, because when I say these things happen, people talk and say, "Yo, nah, man, it's just because you're young, you've got some sort of bias." But I'm saying no,
it's
actually
happening.
it actually
It's
happens.
happening.
Like it actually happens.
It's happening.
It doesn't, and the thing is, it doesn't matter who you are. They don't care.
No, they don't.
They don't.
They don't.
Because it's like instantly, I've seen police do it. Even a scenario that happened to my mum had given a statement when she had to go to court and the statement is saying XYZ. She's read the one there. She said, "I didn't say this." She said she was all about to say, "Yo, she's not even gonna go through with it no more because of the way they've changed her what she said." She said, "Not all of this stuff. You've made it sound like completely different to how it's actually happened." And this is what police are liable doing.
No, but don't you notice they do that with the statements, the wording?
Yeah, they
because
word it,
my son doesn't talk ghetto. Now, when we got his statement, it was his sister. She's reading it and she's going, "But you don't talk like that, Mum." I said, "I know." Like they were putting brer and bro and my son doesn't talk like that.
Bro.
Yeah, and all these slang words. Yeah, but he doesn't
But remember,
talk like
they've
that.
got the reason why they do that again is going back to the gangs. It's going
Yeah,
back
they need to have that
to have the association with
It
gangs.
looks
Do you
like
understand what I'm
it's
saying?
rubbish, right?
Because he speaks like that. That's what
Yeah.
that's the slang, isn't it?
Yeah,
so they
yeah.
have to make it out that they are part of a gang.
Yeah.
That's the reason why they would do that.
It's all about perception.
And what you must... and another thing, and I have to put it out there, everybody, please, I'm begging you, if you go to the police station with your son or you and they bring out an iPad, like they did me, and they tell you to do your statement on the iPad, do not do it on the iPad.
Nothing. You don't have to do shiesty,
Don't
fam.
do it. No, please do not do it on an iPad. They
Don't do
alter
it on
it.
nothing. Yeah, I'll do it on that.
They do. They alter it. It's been done
This
You ain't
before.
got a lawyer, don't write
This
now.
is crazy. We're getting
Yeah.
some real exposure in the
Telling you,
criminality of the Metropolitan Police Station.
Well,
That's a good
I've
thing.
got a USB here that I will not show it on here, but I'm going to show you
Yeah,
gentlemen afterwards,
yeah.
and they're not going to like what they see.
Yeah, no, thank you. I honestly, before I say that, Julie, do you have anything that you would like to say before I hand over to Pels before we close off?
No, do you know what? The main thing I want to say is that when you said earlier about what do we hope to get from this, now what I want to see is, because in my son's case, the facts and evidence wasn't looked at, so the jury were completely prejudiced, and I want to see something where you have to go on facts and you have to go on evidence. You can't just go on speculation, and that's what a lot of people are doing. They're just basically convicted on speculation, and that needs to stop because it's just going to ruin so many lives.
Yeah.
That's all. Yeah, honestly,
Stop being lazy.
I've seen
you
it
know.
firsthand.
Stop being
need
lazy. Yeah.
Yeah, so
But you
that's
know
it, that's
what? We
my-
need
Thank you.
justice. And again, because I always like to put the spiritual spin into this thing.
Spin the top.
But, you know, we need mercy.
Mm.
Because it said there's a scripture, I can't remember which one it is, our thing, but it says justice, the mercy over justice.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? We need mercy.
Yeah, no, I heard that.
We need mercy.
If they had a shred of mercy, they
Yes,
know they'd
it's
never do
mercy.
this. They wouldn't,
Yeah.
because I always do. That's one thing I've always said about the police with my encounters with them is this. I said, how do you look
Sleep
do
at
this to
night.
people and sleep at night?
Like, that's right.
I
yeah.
say that. How
Like,
do you
man,
sleep
Yeah,
at
like,
night?
going forward.
you like, because it's like they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, they do.
They
But-
know exactly.
but-
And this is what was crazy is they
Yeah.
try to paint it going like they don't know. They know what they're doing.
They do.
So when you're getting them something like, let's say, due to what actually happens in the situation, like, you should be, let's say, getting a light. So no, you're getting the maximum, because that's what they want.
Yeah, they do. But again, the reason why there's a maximum because there's the money to be made.
Yeah.
So imagine for 35 years they've got how much thousands of pounds of every year for
That's what I said,
35 years. So
everything
they're
is
making
money
money,
for
isn't
them,
it?
innit?
Yeah.
Private money.
When
Yeah.
they arrest you, they're looking at
No,
like,
but it is
like,
that.
Money,
how
yeah.
we're gonna
I've
milk
never-
this one.
That's right. Yeah.
It's making
So-
jobs for them, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. It's
Probation
the
officers,
jobs. Yeah,
CEOs,
exactly.
prison guards.
Everybody
It's
gets.
making
Everybody
jobs
gets. Yeah.
for them.
So for myself going forward, what I would like, where my son is concerned, he's on remand at the moment. So yeah, he's on remand for murder with joint enterprise.
Right.
You know, had nothing to do with it. Again, same thing.
Yeah.
Again, mercy. That they will by the time his trial starts in September.
Yeah.
Hopefully they hear it.
You understand what I'm saying? By the time, I'm hoping that everybody, as many people as possible, starts learning about what joint enterprise is and starts kicking up such a stink
Yeah.
and a fuss about it that they have to amend that bill, Section 8. Yeah, Section 8.
Got to amend
They
that
have
section
to
8, yo.
amend Section 8. You understand what I'm saying? That so the significant contribution bill, they put it back to its original intent.
Yes, because it was.
Yeah, but I do. Like I said, I'm a spiritual person. I'm a believer. So I do decree and declare that this year,
Amen.
hopefully before my son's trial starts, that bill will be changed.
Amen. 100.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And the perpetrator will be the one that gets sentenced.
Come on.
And the secondary ones who are innocent will what's the word? Not convicted. What's the
I was going to say
vindicated.
convicted. Ah, cool.
Not is it
I was on the other side of the dictionary.
Innocent.
Innocent, yeah.
Innocent.
So that is what I believe
Yeah.
will happen.
Thank you.
Listen, thank you guys so much
thank you so
for sharing
much.
your experiences, for educating us, and just being completely transparent and honest with us.
Yeah.
So
Jengba,
if you could, so Jengba, what? Okay.
So Jengba is
I know
joint
you can't see this.
enterprise, not guilty by association. Here, let me borrow that back a minute. Yeah. So this is an organisation that was started by two mothers at first. So
Okay.
shout out to Gloria and Jan. Jan was just the lady whose son was blind and got
Right,
done.
okay.
And Jan and Gloria, her
That is so
son's
sad,
best
you know.
friend was done joint
Seriously.
enterprise, and you know, so she started to do her research and etc. So it's due to Jan, Gloria, with the CPS, you know, going
Okay,
forward
yeah,
with
yeah.
you know, other groups of people, Liberty as well, who went and they sued the CPS. So
Yeah.
this is Jengba, and Jengba deals with over 1,500 cases. They're helping, they're involved
They're
with,
so
you
good.
understand what I'm
They
saying?
really are
When I
good.
say
They
fantastic,
are,
they're
aren't they?
absolutely a fantastic group of people, and we all become a family now, basically, you know, campaigning for our children and anybody's children who's basically, so yeah, so there's Jengba. Check them out at Jengba on
At
Instagram.
Jengba, what's that?
Joint Enterprise
JENBA
Yeah.
underscore.
Enterprise not guilty by association.
Yeah.
Joint, you
Yeah,
understand
so-
all of them beautiful things, isn't it? But yes, again, I would like to thank you guys
you
for
for
gracing
listening.
us with your presence and even for coming down to our, well, it's not you know,
It's yours.
to this place. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, pals.
It's
You know what I'm
yours.
saying?
We speak
Thank
that
you,
in
pals.
Texas, since it's yours.
Guys, thank you for joining us. You know, it's been a wonderful episode. You know, thank you for. No, I'm just playing games. We don't do that shit. But we are gonna be, you know, hopefully having you guys back on if you will come back on. You know, we are gonna be doing a series diving a lot deeper into, you know, gang culture, and also gonna be working on a separate documentary that I would love to have you guys down speaking on. It's going to be very intimate, you know what I'm saying? Intimate in the good sense, you know what I'm saying? But it's been the SMG podcast. You done all the thing. Bang, bang.
Vegas.